What's up, extended family? It's Joshua. So, you fucked up. Get over it. I've been thinking a lot about the way that we perceive the world around us and the things that we tell ourselves, the way that we fool ourselves. And this is something I just keep saying over and over in my videos, and I feel like I just repeat myself, almost like fruitlessly. But not that I feel like I'm not getting my point across, but more that I feel like it's something that's rubbed into the ground. The fact of thinking positive, that whole change your mind, change your life thing. Sure, you can change your mind, you can change your life, but these things aren't like, it's not cut and dry, it's not black and white. You can't just tell someone to start thinking positive about things. But what I really want to convey here is this, of all the things that I talk about in my videos, a lot of it is just suggestive, stuff that I'd like to work on myself. Things that I've found that work, but it doesn't mean that I've perfected them by any means, or that I do this all the time. Sure, I love the plant kingdom, and I love looking at plants and thinking of where everything comes from, but I don't do it every time I look anywhere. I don't look at every tree and think this. And in the past, I thought that I wanted to get to a point where I could be continuously aware of the magnificence of everything, be in that now state. And I'm fortunate that I got over that by realizing that there's a fine balance there. There is no consistent non-mystical state, just like there's no consistent mystical state. Like I talked about Satori the other day, and that awakening that comes and goes. So we want to feel good about life. We want to feel good about the things that we do and who we are. Now, I am not this body. I am a personality. I am a spirit, an essence, whatever you want to call it, an aware consciousness. But I still have this body to live in. So a lot of us, I've seen a lot of people choose to abandon the body completely, as in saying that I'm not my body at all, I'm just my spirit. But you are your body. Your body is the temple. Think of it as your car. You may not associate yourself with your car, but it's still fun to drive, right? I mean, it's still enjoyable to get in and cruise around, assuming your car is decent. Mine's not, so driving's not so fun, but you get my point. And actually, that's a great metaphor right there, too. If you have a nice car, it's fun to drive. If you have a shitty car, it's not so fun to drive. And you're always having to work on it. And you spend more time stressing out about it than you do enjoying it. Same with the body. So we have to take care of our bodies physically and mentally, and not neglect them as being some separate thing that we don't need, a meat sack. Because they are a part of us, even if they aren't us. See, you live with your body your whole life. So taking care of yourself is important. You want to eat right, you want to do all these things that we think we should do, but most of us slip. We don't all eat good food all the time. Some of us smoke, some of us chew, some of us do drugs, some of us, maybe do some sort of hardcore sport or something that's damaging on the body, or something dangerous. But this is part of life, It doesn't mean you neglect the body, it means that you're taking a certain approach to it, Take care of it the rest of the time, and sometimes you can, it's kind of like gunning, give your car a little gas sometimes, maybe take it a little over the red line there. But in general, we need to take care of ourselves, and the mind is no exception. So positive thinking becomes essential, because everything that our body does is completely controlled by our state of mind. The way our body responds to stress or to happiness is completely dependent upon how we perceive the world. So the old cliche, change your mind, change your life, is really one to live by. And it's not as cheesy as it seems, but it's very difficult. There's the people who say live in the now, they don't quite resonate with me because they don't understand that living in the now means observing the future and the past. They never include that. It seems like people who say live in the now, embrace the moment, and think positive, they forget to include how do you deal with past issues and how do you prepare for future issues. And there's always, we always leave out the negative when we're talking about good ways to take care of ourselves. But I can't say enough for positive thinking and changing the way that we view things. I've had a really hard time in the past kind of reconciling some of the differences I've had with, people. And I've never really been like a person who can't get over stuff, but in the sense that I don't understand why people do the things they do. And observing folks, you're able to see that a lot of it's out of fear, a lot of it's out of ignorance, much is out of misunderstanding, just as much as pride and ego. But to one degree or another, we're all full of shit. I keep having to come back to that point because I do my damnedest to try not to put the Yoda effect on everything I do. Although it's funny because one of my favorite people is Alan Watts. And I was watching one of his videos the other day, and he said something that just made me laugh. He said there's some people like to do this, some people like to do that. But he said, I like to talk. I like to talk a lot. So that's what I do. And he just reminded me so much of myself, at that point. It's like, that's what I do. I talk, It's my thing. And I embrace it, I talk about life, and a lot of it comes out as nonsense. I mean, when I've made 1,500 videos, it's bound to come through as the same old random shit. But reinforcing certain ideas, the ones that I keep coming back to are the ones that I can look at as being important, which is thinking positive, living in the now. It's funny because I found that judging people is never an efficient way, by the way how they look, is never an efficient way to understand a person, maybe the clothes they wear or whatever. But judging people by their actions is even more complicated. We want to judge people on what they do, not who they are or what they look like, but sometimes their actions are not understood by us. A person who takes action to preserve something that we think should be removed, or action to remove something we think should be preserved, whether metaphorically or physically, it's a very complicated thing for each one of us to understand exactly where a person's coming from. And this is where empathy comes in, the ability to put ourselves in another person's shoes and to say, well, this person is contributing their part to the big picture. I have a really hard time believing that every single person is needed on this planet, in the sense that the divine plan is everyone's here, or if there was a plan, or even if there's not a plan, that everyone has a part to play. And I've often said that everyone plays a facet in this jewel. And I've gone through periods of my life where I thought some people just need to disappear, and sometimes I still think that. But I don't feel that way. Really, overall, I feel like each person really does belong. Even the worst people in society give us a perspective into what we don't want to be. If there were no criminals, then we wouldn't know what criminality was, and we'd be more likely to be interested in delving into that. Anything that a human can comprehend, anything that a human can think up to do, we will try to do. And I feel like people are pushing against this. People are saying, we need to come together. We need to all agree on this or all agree on that. But it's never going to happen. It's a pipe dream. I had that same feeling years ago, that we all need to come together. But I haven't found one issue yet that we can all come together on, except for the basics of we all need love and understanding. But and family, all those basics. But there's always going to be the one guy standing outside the circle saying, well, while you guys are over here loving, I'm going to go steal your shoes and purses from the lobby. It's the realistic world that we live in, that it is what it is. It's time to stop telling each other how it should be. And I know I sound, condescending, but, get over this whole, this is what the world should be thing. Because I've never heard a single person actually be able to state a real way for us to move forward as a species without leaving someone out. Every explanation, every theory on how to get ourselves out of whatever situation they claim we're in, there's always somebody left out. There's always somebody that's belittled or put down or left behind because of it. If we all abandon government and abandon our society, who's left behind? All of us, because the whole thing collapses. We're teetering on the edge of something. I don't know how it's going to go, how the future is going to go down. There's too many people saying, look, this is what's going to happen, or this is what's going to happen, and these are the people we need to get rid of. We need to take these people out, and do this and do that. Meanwhile, the world goes on as it always has. There have always been people pointing fingers. There have always been people telling others how they should live their life. There have always been people saying, I have the best way. And meanwhile, we're all kind of left to fend for ourselves. It doesn't matter how much you trust a person. When they're telling you something, it's what they know to be true. It doesn't mean it's true. So, to take the positivity and to take take it for what it is. Don't look at everything and expect to see the whole world in this perfect picture all the time. We're going to have bad moods. We're going to wake up pissed off. We're going to have people get us angry, and we're going to have people make us cry. That's life. That's life. And that's what's cool about it. I don't know what else to say. Raise your lighters, y'all. Be a good guy. Peace.